In this video, we'll be looking at decanting your wine. We're going to learn 3 things about decanting wine, plus the 4th thing, we'll see a variety of decanters. Some of the decanters will be good and some not so good. Plus, I'll show you what I do for decanting my wine. Actually, there'll even be a little bonus at the end. By the time you finish with this video, you'll understand the importance of decanting your wine and start maximizing your wine's aromas and flavors. Now keep in mind, at any time, if you like what you hear, click like or subscribe or hit the little bell so that you'll be notified when there's a new post. Number 1, what is decanting? Decanting is centuries old. The Romans let their decanted wine sit out for hours, believing it brought out the wine's aromas and mellowed its harsh tannins. They were actually spot on. That's pretty much what it does. A decanting wine is essentially the process of pouring the contents from the bottle into another vessel, a decanter. Typically, the wine is then served from the decanter. Now, generally speaking, decanting serves 2 purposes. Number 1, it separates the wine from sediment that may have formed in the bottle. And number 2, it gets air or oxygen to the wine, so its aromas and flavors will be more vibrant when it's served. Decanting accelerates the breathing process, which increases the wine's aromas and flavors that it gets from both the grapes and oak barrels. It also softens the taste of the tannins that cause harshness and astringency in young red wines. Now, to understand a little bit more about what I mean by breathing or the breathing process, check out my video, Letting Your Wine Breathe. Number 2, do you decant all wines? The simplest rule of thumb is decant wines that are red, old, and bold. To be fair, there really aren't many wines that get worse with decanting. As far as white wines are concerned, when white wines are vinified or produced in contact with their skins, then decanting may improve them the same way it improves many red wines. Any skin contact wines will benefit. Decanting softens their tannins. Also, to warm up a white wine coming straight out of the fridge, pour it into a room temperature decanter. Now, when it comes to wines in general, the rule of thumb that I mentioned earlier is the way to go. Both old and bold wines will benefit from decanting, but for different reasons. The reason for decanting old wine is to remove the juice from the sediment that has collected in the bottom over time. This is a good idea for reds 5 or 6 years old or older. To decant these aged reds, you've been storing it on its side, so what you want to do is you want to stand the bottle straight up for several hours or even a day before consumption. This lets the sediment fall to the bottom. When pouring your wine, pour your wine slowly into the decanter. Tilt the bottle and stop pouring when you see the sediment or cloudiness reach the shoulder or the neck. The sediment will get settled right here. These bottles are designed to do this. Now, to understand more about this, you might want to check out my video, Wine Bottles, the Big 3, Bordeaux, Burgundy, and Alsace. Now, don't try to pour past the sediment. You'll end up with a bunch of sediment in your glass, and that's not so good. With these older wines, older than 5 or 6 years old, once the juice is removed from the sediment, the decanting process is over and the wine is ready to drink. Now listen to this. This is really important. Don't leave your old wines out to breathe. This will shorten its consumption window. Now, for big, bold, young reds, the purpose of decanting is different. It's to introduce oxygen to the wine. When it comes in contact with oxygen, the aromas and flavors become stronger, making it easier to assess and enjoy. When you decant young, bold reds, pour the wine quickly. Let the wine get plenty of air mixed into it. Like this. You see how quickly I'm doing this? You're letting a lot of oxygen get in. The oxygen will cause tannins to soften up, making an aggressive wine much easier to drink after an hour or so with the air. I really recommend that you decant most young reds, especially bold varieties like Cabs, Syrah, and Nebbiolos. Now, some wines can be stored overnight in your decanter, but for older wines, if you don't finish them, you really need to return them to the bottle. Now, here's another rule of thumb regarding decanting your wines. If you start off with a good wine, decanting it takes it to very good. Decanting and letting it sit or rest takes it to great. And decanting it and letting it open up for an hour or so maximizes the flavors and your experience. How are you doing there? Are you getting a pretty good handle on this whole decanting thing? If you are, pause the video for a moment and let me know by writing Asti in the comments below. So number 3 is, what's the best shape for wine decanter? If your main goal is aeration, to get air to the wine, then a wide neck decanter is recommended. This will allow more oxygen to get into the decanter so that the wine aerates faster and more effectively. They're definitely easier to clean than thin neck versions. Wide neck decanters are the most popular and will work well with most wine drinkers. The size of the opening will obviously determine how much air and therefore oxygen is going to reach the wine, but that isn't the only measurement that counts. The size of the decanter bowl is very important. The bowl is the bottom part of the decanter where the wine sits. The more wine surface area there is, the more contact between the wine and the oxygen. The greater the surface area, the less time you'll need to decant your wine. Number 4, types of wine decanters. I'm going to show you very quickly a wide variety of different kinds of decanters. You'll see 2 different things as you look at the different decanters. Number 1 is the form versus number 2, the function. Said another way, do you want your decanter to look really cool, or do you want it to be effective and work well? As we look at them, you want to apply the 2 principles that we looked at earlier. Number 1, broad opening, and number 2, large bowl. You'll see these initial decanters are much more functional. They're more traditional decanters. They have the wider openings and broader bowls. Some of the very broad bowl decanters that we see here can be very awkward. You almost have to turn the decanter upside down to get the last glass of wine out of it. I don't care for those very much, but they're very effective. Now, these are more modern contemporary decanters. You'll also find decanters of every shape, form, and size. If a piece of glass can be blown and formed in a way to hold liquid, it could end up being a decanter. Now, that's not to say that it would be a functional decanter, but it could be a decanter. Some of these more modern shapes are very popular and make a visual statement as you serve your wine. So we just saw a very small sampling of some decanters to give you an idea of what's out there. Let me show you what I do. My lifestyle is a little bit more casual, yet I want to be able to maximize the aromas and flavors of my wine. Even though I have a more traditional decanter, I tend to like the French and Italian country motif. When decanting my wine for dinner or just getting together with friends, I'll use a broad mouth, broad bowl pitcher. For me, it's all about allowing the wine to maximize its aromas and flavors, but still have something that visually expresses my personality. As far as cleaning your decanters, they're all relatively easy to clean. Some are actually easier than others. You definitely want to check out my video, How to Care for Your Wine Decanter. Are you ready for the special bonus? Do you know what double decanting is? It's basically pouring your wine into a decanter and then back into a bottle or pitcher or any other vessel. So you single decant your wine, especially older vintages, so you won't get a glass full of sediment as you near the end of the bottle. It's a good idea to double decant younger, bold wines, particularly those that have high tannin levels. it's definitely better to double decant. If you think about it, especially for special get-togethers, give your big wines at least 1 hour to open up if you can. Well, there you have it. Everything you need to know about decanting your wine. Hey there, Posse. Thanks so much for investing the time to watch this video. I trust it was helpful to you. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And please consider hitting subscribe. Also, be sure to check out some of these other videos. Until next time, cheers.